Prime Minister Modi has launched the mass vaccination drive against COVID-19, but he has urged Indians to continue to observe the restrictions against COVID. Let's listen into this audio-visual presentation that has been made by the Health Ministry.
Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya.
Right, like we were mentioning, Prime Minister Modi has just launched India's vaccination drive against COVID-19, and like we were just mentioning, this is being billed as the world's biggest vaccination drive. By the end of it, it could prove to be the biggest vaccination undertaking in the history of humanity. As we can tell you, in the first phase, the essential health workers will be vaccinated. That amounts to about 3 crore people, or about 30 million people, which are essential healthcare workers, which will be vaccinated in the very first phase. In the first year itself, India hopes to vaccinate close to 300 million people against COVID-19. Prime Minister Modi also, while launching this vaccination drive, highlighted the effort put in by healthcare workers and essential workers during this entire period. He highlighted how healthcare workers prioritized their duty and helped in keeping the death rate low in the country. In fact, let's go across now to my colleague Siddhant Sibal, who joins us from AIIMS, where the vaccination drive will begin today. And Siddhant, we'd like to know what will happen on day one of this vaccination drive.
Well, yes, I'm standing at AIIMS here in Delhi, where the Indian Health Minister is right now inside, where the vaccination is about to start very soon. We are expecting some kind of development. In fact, the entire media has descended here in this location of AIIMS, and of course, they are giving a live wall-to-wall reporting. If my camera person can show you the in a sense commotion as well, you can see the security personnel is also guarding here so that there is no more commotion as well, because more and more people want to go inside and get more visuals of the vaccination when it starts. But India's health minister is inside, and this is something that is a big story here, just not in India but also across the world, because the vaccination drive in India is the largest ever vaccination drive that is going to start, and the world is looking at India for how India will manage that. We know that India has an experience of vaccination. The polio vaccination program is something that has been lauded all across the world, so India is going to go on the same lines as well. But amidst the COVID crisis, we know that India was able to reaffirm its position as the pharma capital of the world, sending HCQ and paracetamol to 150 countries. So in this case as well, the focus is how India will be able to give its vaccines to the region and across the world. In fact, today, just morning, the Nepali foreign minister had spoken to select journalists, including from WION, and talked extensively about other issues, including the COVID vaccine. In fact, just yesterday, the Nepali authorities have given an approval to Covishield vaccine of India being manufactured here in India. So he clearly said that he, of course, lauds and welcomes this development, and said that he hopes that Nepal gets the vaccine very soon from India. Nepal is hoping to get 20%, around 20 million doses of the vaccine from India. And whatever development is happening here in Delhi today will be headlines also in the region, because there are many other countries hoping to get it. We know that Myanmar's Aung San Suu Kyi, during during her New Year's address, announced that there is already a contract with India. Bangladesh is also very keen. We know the reports coming from Bangladesh, but clearly the big focus right now is the first visual of the first person here in India who gets the vaccination, and he will or she will be getting the vaccination behind me, behind that place where the Indian Health Minister is present. He is being shown around how things are going to work, and there are approximately 3,000 centers across the country where the vaccination drive will start. And as you just pointed out, and as the Indian Prime Minister spoke in his address, the priority group will be clearly the healthcare group, and that is the protocol across the world, that the healthcare group and the frontline workers are expected to get it first, and they're going to get it free, as the Indian government has said that the central government is going to bear the entire cost of vaccination for the first 3 crore people, and then of course the later 27 crore people who are above 50 years old. Below 50 also expected to get the vaccine as well, but if only if they suffer from some problem or there is comorbidity. So that of course is the game plan, or of course the protocol how India is going to go about the entire vaccination drive. But clearly now the big focus is the first visuals of those vaccination when the process starts.
Absolutely, Sudhan. Stay with us. We will continue to stay with these visuals. These are the first visuals. First vaccines will be administered in New Delhi at any moment now. Centre has planned to vaccinate around 3 lakh people, which is about 30 million people, at about 3,000 locations across the country. 3,000 locations have been identified where vaccines will be administered to people. The drive will be held daily from about 9 a.m. to about 5 p.m. except on the days earmarked for routine immunization programs. Union Health Minister Dr. Harsh Vardhan had termed the country's vaccination drive as the beginning of the end of COVID-19. However, as we just heard, Prime Minister Modi has urged Indians that they shouldn't let their guard down and continue to observe the restrictions in place and continue to wear masks and sanitize their hands as India begins its vaccination drive against COVID-19, billed as the world's largest vaccination drive. The central government has introduced an application called WION as well, which is COVID vaccine intelligence work to monitor the entire vaccination process across the country. Now, in the next phase of the vaccination drive, people aged over 50 years of age will be vaccinated, and then those who are below 50 years but have serious health conditions or comorbidities, according to the Health Ministry. Now, there has been dry runs which have been held across the country at vaccination centers with lakhs of healthcare staff across districts. They were trained. As you can see, these are the visuals coming in from AIIMS in India's capital, New Delhi, where the first doses of vaccines are being administered. As we just heard Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi also say that the first dose of the vaccine does not mean that the people will be immunized against COVID-19. People will have to get a second dose, which will be administered in a few weeks' time after the first dose, and it's only a couple of weeks after the second dose of the vaccine will people be immunized against COVID-19. So this is just the start of the vaccination process. There are millions of people who will be given the first dose of the vaccine, and a second dose will be administered a few weeks later, and only after that will people start getting immunized from COVID-19. These are the visuals. We'll just listen into the audio which is coming in from AIIMS. People are clapping as well as the first vaccines are being administered. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.